to the real world. I can show you the
And then?
and you'll be in a world of legendary moments will be captured. So stand up, scream, and make sure the boys feel you.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Well. Good evening, everybody. Game time, Bryan, otherwise known as the Mailman. You guys know who it is. We are here on a Monday Night Football. Yes, we got Monday Night Football in a little over an hour. We will be streaming it. But first, we have arguably the best, the three best group of guys to be talking about the Cowboys versus the Giants, the state of the franchises, the game, which is kind of an afterthought at this point. But first, let me introduce. He needs no introduction, by the way. He's the longest reigning New York Giant content creator on YouTube. I believe, Pizzle, I believe you said 18 years. He's one of a kind, the one and only Kyle Pizzle. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Bryan. I appreciate it.
You got it, man. I'm watching your videos, and it's a little, it's just unbelievable what the hell is going on. But next, this guy does it all. No lie, he does it all, and he's great at everything. He does play-by-play for the Knicks on YouTube, New York Yankees baseball, New York Giants football. He told me that his dream was to be a play-by-play announcer, and YouTube was the next best thing. Well, he is killing it. He's also the creator of the NFC East Super Friends that he was so gracious enough to have me on. It's an unbelievable. He's a genius for creating that show. The very talented Bad Dog Sports.
What up, Bryan? Thanks for having me. I do the Lakers, by the way, not the Knicks, because the Knicks.
I know you do the Lakers, but I looked at your YouTube page and I'm like, it says Knicks, so I said I don't want to say.
I'm a Knicks fan, but I do the Lakers simply because they play 10 o'clock at night. It allows me to spend time with my family since I work a full-time job. I go to the gym. That gives me a block of
you're
time.
You're jacked, by the way. God.
Yeah, thank you, sir. A lot of years in there. A lot of aggravation taken out of the Giants in there. But I appreciate the kind words, and yeah, man, thanks for having me on. I always appreciate it,
dude. Absolutely, I'm glad you're a first-time visitor to the show. I hope that we can do this again. But the next man needs no introduction. He has not one, not two, 3 YouTube channels. I don't know. I could be forgetting some. He has Joe Boo's day job where he's doing wonderful work with the Red Brick House. If anybody doesn't know, he's killing it with the Red Brick House, restoring an 1800-year-old, I think it was built in the early 1800s, I believe.
1820.
He does the...
Mark was alive when that was being built, by the way.
He does.
You like it this year.
He does Cooking with Joe Boo, and none other than Joe Boo's Sports Report. But first and foremost, he's the reason why I'm even doing YouTube. Yeah, so if you hate me, you can thank Mark Holmes. If you love me, you could thank Mark Holmes. But more importantly, he's my friend, the one and only Mark Holmes. How are you, brother? How are you?
Man, you know what? I appreciate all the love and everything that you do.
Well, it's going to end soon.
But I get blamed for everything. If the Cowboys win, I get blamed because, we should be losing. If we lose, I get blamed because of Joe Boo and everything else. But I want to say thank you for letting me come in with these distinguished gentlemen. 18 years of Cop Pizzle being on YouTube. Man. My God.
I like Pizzle, even though he's,
that's as long as I've been married to my bride, just about, man. That's freaking insane. And yes, I feel like I was around in the 1820s because the Dallas Cowboys have definitely aged me.
Yeah, and again, it's funny because we get trolled a lot. I got a lot of Eagles and Commanders where I live in South Jersey, kind of in the middle of everything. And you know, I get a lot of Eagle subscribers and Commander subscribers, Giant, not so much, but yeah, some. And they like to troll us about how long it's been, guys, that we have been relevant. Now, I don't know. We could argue relevancy. And to me, it's always been about the hardware. And I think that's a good way to start because, you know, listen, I'm not here to troll the Eagles, but, you know, I have to a little bit, Logan. I see you in the chat. You know, you guys have won Super Bowl to your name. Now, again, you've had more recent success in playoffs, and that's cool, but is it not about the hardware, gentlemen? That's kind of where I see it. But I want to get into the state of the franchises. I'm going to start with the Giants. I want Pizzle and a Bad Dog and Mark can interject. Please, like Pizzle, you start, and Bad Dog, you guys can just start talking. I want to do a freelance type of thing. Please tell me the state of the franchise, Pizzle, and where you stand. Just please, man, because it's sad right now, bro.
Well, it is sad for Giant fans. I can't speak for any of the other fan base. Well, actually, I can't speak for the other fan base because, as you guys mentioned, I have been on here for 18 seasons, 18 years doing football content. And even though the Giants, in my opinion, are at the lowest of their lows that they've ever been, in all the 18 years that I've been on here, the Giants have the most hardware out of any team in the NFC East. I ain't seen the football team, Commanders, Redskins, whatever you want to call them. I ain't seen them do anything. I ain't seen the Dallas Cowboys do nothing in 18 seasons since I've been on here. And the Eagles kissed their sister one time, okay? So even though we're having a real hard time over here, you know, and things aren't going great, I can at least sit here and say that I have proof, okay, in content of watching my team win not one but 2 Super Bowls, okay? So even though we're having a hard time, understand that everybody's still looking up to the Giants as far as I'm concerned. I understand the Cowboys have got more and all this and that, but that was a long time ago. That was a real long. I don't even know if cell phones were even a thing that long ago. It's been that long. So, you know, I understand the Giants look awful right now. We're the punching bag of the NFL right now. Everybody's laughing at us because of Saquon. You know, I know Philly 500 somewhere right now having a real good laugh about how great, you know, it is to have Saquon Barkley on his team and yada, 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 yada. But at the end of the day, you know, we've accomplished more in the last 20 years out of any team in this division. So it is what it is right now. We'll be back. You know, it's rock bottom, but we'll find our way back to the top.
Yeah, you know, and Brian, it's funny that you mentioned you get trolled. I can't tell you every time I drop a video or whatever, I can't tell you how many times I get, thanks for Saquon Barkley. Thanks for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
We didn't give them Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley signed there, but
It's in the chat right now a lot.
yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is this. Barkley's doing great. He should. Every player that leaves the Giants seems to be doing just fine because there's better pieces around him. The Giants are in a really listen, man. I've been a fan since 1984. I have seen all 4 Super Bowls. Every one of them is special in their own way. The last decade has been incredibly tough. We have been through multiple coaches, multiple coordinators, multiple linemen, wide receivers, quarterbacks, GMs, you name it, and everything has remained the same. It's just the names are different, the faces are different, but the results are the same. It gets frustrating. I'm sick and tired of losing. This team is just beating it out of me this year. It's really bad. I don't want Dable and Shane to be fired. I would like some consistency with this team. But when you look at what's going on and you hear guys like Malik Neighbors, who has 10 games under his belt, calling out the coach saying, where's my targets? Why am I getting targets and I'm down 30-0? And Dable just kind of deals with it. And you see the way Joe Shane acted on Hard Knocks. I think it was the right move. We couldn't afford Saquon Barkley. We wouldn't be 9-2 if Saquon was here. Saquon wouldn't be leading the league in rushing if he was here. He was here for 6 years. We had one winning season. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he had 2 full seasons where he was healthy. He's on a much better team. There was a statistic the other night when he was at the Giants. It was 1.5 yards before he was contacted. With the Eagles, it's 2.7 yards before anyone makes contact. That's ridiculous. So of course he's going to be better. Of course McKinney's going to be better on a better team. Yeah, I think they were the right move, but the way he handled it makes him look bad, and because it was public, it makes him look worse. I don't know where this franchise is going. It's in complete disarray. And then, yeah, I've definitely been an advocate of, listen, I don't think Daniel Jones is the guy here. I still think Daniel Jones can go to a different place with better players and be a good quarterback. I just think here it was in his head. He was in his own head, and it wasn't going to work here. But again, the way they handle the situation makes them look bad. I don't know where the hell we're going. And Pizzle said we hit rock bottom, and I'm telling you, man, every time I think we have, we find a new depth to sink to. I don't know when this ends, but it's been tough. It's been really tough. The last
and Bryan, I think, how many times have the Cowboys been on Hard Knocks, the training camp?
I would say
version?
at least two.
Is it
maybe
2
three.
times?
Yeah, I know.
I know it's at least twice.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, as a fan of the Giants, I've watched every season of Hard Knocks, and of course I watched the Cowboy versions. I want to say it's at least 2.
Yeah,
I've always wanted the Giants. 3. I've always wanted the Giants to be on Hard Knocks. I always thought it was cool, but the Hard Knocks thing was the worst thing that could have happened to the Giants.
Why did you say that?
I mean, because like it completely it put Joe Shane and Brian Dable, most notably, really Joe Shane, in a position of you know your moves are going to get exposed, good or bad. So if the Giants would have had a good season, those clips from Hard Knocks, he could step back and say, look how smart he was. But every clip basically out of Hard Knocks is just a clip of him looking awful, looking silly.
His kids have more knowledge about who to draft.
That's what's, to me, like, I don't know how any other organization would ever want to do the off-season Hard Knocks like the Giants did.
But they make you, though. You have to, like.
No, I understand. I understand
so
that.
It was your turn, and you didn't have a choice. They didn't want to do it. That's how I feel with the Cowboys. We're, Mark, and real quick, are we not the Hard Knocks like every year, even when we're not on it because of Jerry Jones? We are literally Hard Knocks 24/7, 365. True. It's ridiculous. Real quick, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, the thing about our Cowboys is, and you try and, after going to Dallas, what you realize is it's like Charlie Brown. We all get excited. We get pumped up about them boys and everything else, right? And we always get the rug pulled out from underneath of us. And what you realize, like you just said, Hard Knocks, every day is Hard Knocks.
That's
whether
how
we
I feel,
win or lose.
Every day with the Cowboys is Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
But that's part of some of your ownership. That's your ownership.
I agree with you.
Completely
it's
our ownership.
It is. But, and that's what, I want you to, and Pizzle, you can start with this, like Malik Neighbors. Just explain exactly what happened with Malik Neighbors. And I have been, everybody in the chat knows, to a fault. And Bad Dog, I think you finally, when I was on with you, you were like, I'm over Daniel Jones. I have always been a Daniel Jones fan because I see the size, the arm, the athletic ability. I think he can't, I've always saw something good in him, and I think he's going to be a guy who's going to go somewhere else and eventually succeed. But Pizzle, just start and explain what happened with Malik Neighbors in the locker room. And he's right, just by the way, Malik Neighbors. But go ahead, man. What the hell happened?
Well, let me say too, like if I was an owner, I would be just like Jerry Jones. So I
did hear you say that before.
I talk a lot of junk about Jerry Jones, but like that's exactly probably I would be very out front and out, just the same way. So, anyways, as far as Malik Neighbors go, if you go back to the Thursday game that the Cowboys and Giants had earlier in the year, that game was really almost kind of like a CeeDee Lamb versus Malik Neighbors show in a lot of ways, because CeeDee obviously had a great game that game, and Neighbors was making some really nice plays in that game. So, this upcoming Thanksgiving game, there's a lot of people talking about how bad of a game it is. I think it's a great opportunity for those two guys to really be able to put on a show, in front of a national audience. But, nevertheless, Malik Neighbors, we don't have a leader on this team. The Giants do not have a leader whatsoever. There's nobody that's a vocal leader. And unfortunately, a rookie receiver in himself has to be the guy that has to come out and say what's really on the team's mind. So him coming out and saying, it wasn't the quarterback. It's never been about the quarterback. And, he didn't specify, but obviously he was talking about probably the coaching staff. I actually commend him for doing that, because somebody's got to say something. Somebody's got to stand up and be that dog, be the leader, be the captain. You know, it's really a joke when your peers on your team, your teammates, at the start of the season, vote you to be the captain of the team, and then
That's
by week
impressive
12,
early on. Yeah, that's
by
it.
week
Yeah.
12, well, no, I'm not. I'm talking about Daniel Jones.
I know.
I mean,
it was-
I'm talking about, like, you vote him a captain, but then you release your captain before the season's even showing. So
Yeah.
here, I think you have a receiver who is a rookie that is standing up for his said captain for being released, and then having such a pitiful performance against the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, Bad Dog, you want to expound a little
Yeah,
bit? on
I think what's interesting, and I mentioned this on Twitter, Malik Neighbors, you know, it's funny when you watch Hard Knocks and he was talking to Brian Dable said to him, how would you feel if you're wide open and not getting the ball? He goes, I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to say I want the ball. I'm open. And sure enough, that's exactly what he said. And yeah, he did. He said, it's not about the quarterback, never been about the quarterback. It's the same result. And they said, why aren't you getting the ball? Ask Coach Daves about that. Ask Coach Daves about that. You got to ask Daves about that. That's exactly what he said. So yes, he kind of chucked his head coach under the bus.
Good for
And
him.
I agree. I agree with Pizzle. Yes, good. Somebody said something. Somebody finally stood up and said the truth about what the hell's going on with this team, instead of, oh, we got to look at the tape. I got to do better. You know what? It is. Daniel Jones obviously was going to be the polarizing. He's been probably the most polarizing player I can remember being
Since
a fan of the
Carson
Giants. Now,
Wentz.
social media has a lot to do with that. It does. But when you're the quarterback, you're going to take the most fire. You're going to get the most glory. And he obviously, like you said, Brian, I agree. I think I think Daniel Jones can go to a different team and succeed.
I think he can.
I just thought Daniel Jones had physical talent. It's just his head, man.
I think he's
think
just
that
swimming in the North Jersey BS up there.
There's a lot that went on with him. I think Joe Judge screwed
The
him up. I
offensive
think Jason
line,
Garrett
I
screwed
think-
him up.
You know, and this is
And he
where my
never
problem
recovered.
is. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I just don't think he ever recovered. And I think he
Yeah.
was so conscious of not making a mistake that he would hesitate. And as soon as you hesitate in the NFL, you're done. It's
Well,
too late.
Just look at
It's that
Saquon
quick.
Barkley. He goes to Philly, and we all saw this coming. Now we didn't listen. I know I see Leo in the chat. I see you, brother. What's going on, man? We all said we're all curious to see Saquon behind a competent. And I'm being modest. They are a really good offensive line, the Eagles, and now you see it. Put Daniel Jones behind that same, you sort of line.
I've said that forever. I've said switch them.
I mean,
Switch
I don't
Jalen Hurts and Daniel
understand.
Jones, and Daniel
This-
Jones is better than Jalen
Dallas
Hurts.
is
I've said
kind of
it.
doing
I
the
get
same
killed
shit.
for that.
Dallas
I get
does the
killed
same
for that.
shit
Yep.
lately, and I commend Malik Neighbors, who I had as my #1 wide receiver. Mark was there. We were at the draft, and I'm like, Malik
Yep, you
Neighbors.
sure did.
Malik Neighbors is the man, and I love Malik Neighbors. Thank God he opened his mouth, and he wasn't a sheep, and he opened his mouth because it's easy to be a rookie and to sit back. No, he's the real deal. He is always open, and Mark, I want you to get on this because you've seen it. What's your thought on the Giants? Malik Neighbors, Daniel Jones. I don't know where you stand on Danny Dimes, but I like him. I really thought he was going to be good.
I want to say what happened to Danny Dimes, and for some reason I don't get shown up on the screen. It stays you. It's just everybody's like, I don't see Mark when he talks.
Well, I
But
have
again, that
everybody
might-
there.
I
That-
see
that-
you.
No, like on the
See you
big
now.
screen there. Okay, well,
You
I
see
just
my
We
bad.
don't
Right.
need to
That's
see
it.
you anyways, Mark.
okay. All right, Pizzle. All right, I'm trying to play nice. See, I see Bad Dog there laughing, but I just don't see me. But that's all good.
Down just a little bit.
The thing that's happened to Daniel Jones is kind of like when Eli was towards the end of his career and they ended up bringing in Brandon Marshall. Everybody's like, oh my God, they got Sterling Shepard, they got Odell, they got Brandon Marshall. How are you going to stop that? And I said, the offensive line is going to be the problem for them because you've got to protect the quarterback. It doesn't matter if you got great receivers if the quarterback cannot go anywhere. And when you look at what's happened typically with the Washington Commanders is their quarterbacks get beat to hell and they get gun shy. So every time you get the ball, you're thinking about getting killed. And unfortunately for the Giants, you guys have drafted some first-round offensive linemen, and none of them have ended up being any good. And that is where the whole problem has been with that team. Now, I'm not really in a position to talk shit because, like Kyle Pixel put out there, you know, you guys won a
29
couple
years,
of Super
Mark.
Bowls going through Dallas, and we've done nothing because of this jackass right here.
I love him.
Who
I
is
love
still
him.
chasing, you know, proving everybody that it wasn't Jimmy Johnson.
I love
And
him.
that's why we feel like, you know, okay, we're going to be a good team, but we're never going to taste the Super Bowl because we just don't do enough.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go
Brian,
ahead,
can I
man. We're
say-
still on the
can I
Giants.
say
Go
something?
ahead. Yep.
I have had so many people over the last month, 2 months that have came to my page and they say, you are the Giants version of Mark Holmes.
Is that a
And-
compliment?
Well, the reason they say that is because Mark
Wait,
always
you don't do 12
defends-
videos a day? Hold up.
No, it ain't that. Listen, it's Mark defends
loving way,
Dak
Mark.
Prescott. Mark defends Dak Prescott with
Oh,
with
I
everything
gotcha,
he's
I
got.
gotcha. Yeah.
And I have defended Daniel with everything I got. And I think the worst thing that could ever happen to a franchise is we all know as football fans, the hardest thing to find is a franchise quarterback. That's the hardest thing a team can find. There are teams out there, like the Dolphins, the Tennessee Titans, that have spent 20-some plus years trying to find their next Dan Marino, their next Steve McNair, right? I mean, the Colts, their next Peyton Manning, right? It's been on and on and on. And I think, what I'm terrified of, or what I've always been terrified of, is the fact that Daniel leaves the Giants and goes and be really successful somewhere else. And I think Mark feels that same way about Dak, that Dak could leave the Cowboys and be what everybody thought he could be in terms of his ceiling. And that's right now I'm in my worst possible feeling, because wherever Daniel goes, whether he's a backup or not, it's scary on the idea that he could be successful somewhere else, and we just let that walk out the door, just like we did with Saquon.
I'm kind of rooting for it, though, just to stick it to
I'm
the
on the other side of the fence. I want to see that. I want to see, because I was on the fence of saying, Dak, don't sign here because they're never going to love you. No matter what the fuck you do, they're never going to be thankful of it. You are always going to be the scapegoat. And I would actually like to see him go someplace else, and we can finally realize that it's Jerry freaking Jones that has screwed this thing up.
Right.
I would be happy for him. I wish he could get out of his shit right now and get out of here, because what's going on right now is going to shorten his career. He needs to go ahead and be on a team that realizes we need an offensive line because we've got an old quarterback, and we need to get him more weapons out there instead of the bullshit of we're going to do more with less. Give me a fucking break,
Mark. But I mean, you got to be fair. I mean, Daniel Jones never had an Amari Cooper. He never had a CD.
I agree.
I mean, he never had a prime. Well, he had Saquon Barkley. Never had a line like Dallas. He's always had talent around him. A lot of talent. Daniel Jones never had that kind of talent around him. Never. Again, I didn't think Daniel Jones would succeed here. I didn't. I have been back and forth with Daniel Jones. I had a contentious relationship with Daniel Jones. I've been called the Daniel Jones lover. I've been called the Daniel Jones hater, and everything in between. Because
I got to disagree with you a little bit on that, because I mean, Dak has had some talent, but you can see him with seasons where he's been a runner-up MVP. You can see seasons where he's had 36 TDs, 37 TDs, 30. Daniel Jones has never had a season where it's been over, what, 15?
Right, but he had 24 his rookie year. But
the Giants failed him by not getting talent around him in the same way the Cowboys. When we've had a really good offense, usually our defense has been sucky. It's been sorry.
But Dak has been bad in the postseason. This is why he gets hammered. He's not a good postseason quarterback.
But hold on, I'm gonna have to disagree with that some too. Because when you start looking and saying Zeke Elliott is running 24 yards in a playoff game and you're only running 40 yards on the ground, you're making yourself one-dimensional. You have got to be able to play balanced football, and when playoffs come around, you got to be able to run the football.
But if you're a runner-up MVP and you're supposed to be like, you have to elevate when you're thrown to Amari Cooper. And
he has the same record as Lamar,
right,
in the playoffs.
Lamar has never had an Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, so here we go. Okay.
Listen, you can't tell me Dak Prescott is not
a Dak
shitload of talent around him.
Yeah, I'm not a Dak.
We had Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. We had them both 1 year. CeeDee Lamb's rookie year.
Yeah, but I'm saying we've never Daniel Jones has never had it. Maybe Malik Neighbors. I don't. But I love CeeDee Lamb. Always have.
I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming Daniel Jones. I agree that by whatever reason, whether it's poor drafting or poor insight of your team not putting enough talent around him, his offensive line has been atrocious. I mean, you've literally had guys called the human turnstiles. That you've drafted in the first round. When you have a situation like that, you can't expect to succeed. In the same way, you look at what the Cowboys are doing this past year. We're going to do more with less. We're just going to get more touches for CeeDee Lamb. Those aren't recipes for winning football. They're recipes, of course, to get plenty of publicity, and which is what the Cowboys.
That's a good statement. I just saw a comment from Ultra. He says Dak is the Aaron Judge of the MLB. I'm bringing it up because we got Bad Dog in the house.
Yeah, no, it's true. Aaron Judge has been. We won another MVP. He's the American League home run champion of all time.
He's got a one.
He's amazing, but man, he gets to the postseason and he just shrivels up. And in New York, especially, you are judged by what you do in the postseason. The regular season's nice, but with being a Yankee fan, it only matters what you do in October here. Nothing else matters. You could have the worst season ever. You show up in October, you're a hero. It's just fair or unfair. That's the way it is here. New York's a tough place to play. It really is. So when you're good, the fans love you. And when you're not, they let you know that you're not.
But didn't you guys have Odell Beckham there with Daniel Jones?
I don't know. He was with Daniel.
No, he wasn't with Daniel.
He wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, he left. He was traded. He was traded the year.
No, I mean he finally got a number one receiver with Malik Neighbors for the first time, and then he got released 3 months later. So I mean that's it's unfortunate, and it's just awful. I mean, one of our teams next year is going to have Bill Belichick as the head coach. So one of us can be excited.
It might be the
It's
Eagles.
probably. I hate to say, I'm going to say it's going to be you guys. Because the Cowboys are going to do what they always do. They're going to give you false hope, okay? It's clear your team recognizes this season's going nowhere. That's why you get rid of Daniel Jones, make sure you're not
Smart
paying
move as far as that's concerned.
And you go ahead and get Tommy DeVito,
stinks.
playing. So you probably will be the number one pick, which is the thing to do. Whether you take it or you
but the number one pick to me means nothing if you don't have a competent head coach and a competent general manager.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I don't. That means nothing to me.
Well, it's funny, Pizzle, because yesterday I sat through a live stream, the Washington Commander game and the Cowboy game, and I literally saw my fan base, and I'm curious to hear your guys' opinion on this. My fan base is actually pissed off that we won a game. I'm talking, how could we do it? Now, all due respect, people, but there was no way we were a 3-win team this year. We weren't going to get 1, 2, or 3 unless it was an epic collapse. People forget we do have a decent amount of Pro Bowlers. We're going to get most of them back at some point this year. I don't know why people set the bar. What's your thought? I mean, listen, is there any sense of pride in winning a divisional game anymore? You just want to roll over and get the number one pick. What's your thought on Dallas winning yesterday? Do you think it was stupid, Bad Dog, or do you think you gotta let the players play?
I don't think it was stupid.
How do you go
Dallas,
for the rest of the year?
If Dallas, what is Dallas hoping to do? You guys just gave Dak a 4-year, $240 million contract. What do you
got
take?
At least 2 years left,
unless you're trading back or whatever. But with Dallas, no, I think you guys have an inordinate amount of talent. I still do. You guys didn't get beat up. You're with your backup quarterback now. You lost Micah Parsons. You lost Lawrence. You had a lot
on and on. Yes,
your team.
So rushers.
You guys have won 11, 12 games for. You guys have won more than 10 games. I don't know how many years in a row. I mean, you guys are but injuries happen. This happened, you guys, in 2015, where Tony Romo was hurt. You got
what happened the next year?
You ended up drafting Zeke early in that draft. Then you got Dak in the 4th round. And in 2016, you were 13-3, right? So
exactly,
you guys had talent that year. It's just injuries knocked you down, and you got right back up. But the Giants, we have been bad.
I think your talent level has been elevated.
It's got better, but it's not. It's not where it needs to be.
You got a long ways to go
With the Giants. I mean, there's just listen,
I mean,
last
it
year
just pisses me
I
off
was
that my fan base is sitting there pissed off. Not,
no.
how do
Listen,
you not
Giants
root for your
fans.
team.
Giants fans last year were. I mean, they got on my case. They're like, "Oh, bad dog. Huh? What about Tommy DeVito winning those 3 games now?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, what can you do? I'm never going to tell players go out there and lose." But I'm at the point in the season now where we're 2-9.
Well,
We're
yeah,
picking
I
second.
understand.
We're probably not winning another game the rest of the year. We've released our quarterback. We got rid of the best player we had, and Barkley went to Philadelphia. We got rid of our top mentioned earlier. We have no leaders. McKinney was a leader. He's gone. They dump everybody.
McKinney had a good
In
game
my
yesterday,
opinion,
too.
they really are just. They're not going to come out and say we're tanking. But
Well,
watch
now
the
they
way
are.
they played against Tampa Bay. That is not a team that looks like it's trying to win.
No.
That is not a team that looks like it cares. That's a team that looks like it's going through the motions. And
Yeah.
wherever we end up with, I would never get mad at them for
So
winning
who
a
do
game.
you like, man?
But
I mean,
right
who do
now,
you
I'm not
like
going to
as
get
far
mad
as
at them for
quarterback?
losing either.
I mean-
Cameron Ward. I've been a
Yeah,
Cameron
I
Ward.
know you have been.
Day one. I'm
Now,
a Cameron
Pizzle,
Ward.
I want to first know, like, what's your opinion on? I mean, it could be Giants fans. Are you the type? I don't know, like, where you stand on this. Do you root for your? I mean, don't you want to suit up on a Sunday and watch the game and hope that you beat a division rival? I mean, I don't listen. Come on. I mean, like, am I wrong or what? I mean, what's your opinion on that?
I'm gonna tell you the exact honest truth. You know, take for yesterday, for example. You know, I don't have any hate in my heart for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't have any hate. Now, they whooped our ass. I sit there and I took it. And that you know, it bothers me to watch the Giants lose. I hate to see that. I hate to see you know, Baker Mayfield out there making a mockery of the Giants fan base. I can't stand it. But I can tell you this: I live, you know, the Dallas Cowboys. You know, my hatred for them is what
Isn't your father a
made my
Cowboy fan?
love. Say that again.
Isn't your father a Cowboy fan?
He was until the Titans got here. But
Okay.
I had a hatred. I've always had a hatred for the Dallas Cowboys. And so I can't stand, you know, I live for Giants versus Cowboy games. Okay. I love the movie Little Giants because of Giants versus Cowboys. Okay. I live for these. So Thursday, even though we're terrible, even though we're 2-9, the last thing I want to see is us lose to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't give a damn about no draft pick on Thursday. I want to
That's
beat
what
the
I'm
Dallas
saying.
Cowboys. That's how. Matter of fact, I had a 7-year-old that's on my daughter's basketball team. He walked in with a CD Lamb jersey the other day for practice. I said, I can't root for you, kid. I can't. And I told him, I said, I can't root for you. I'm gonna boo you the rest of the year, dude. I was like, yeah, I can't handle it. I can't handle Dallas Cowboy fans, period. Okay. So make no mistake about it. On Thursday, I'm going to be upset if we lose to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to kill me.
you a spot in the draft in week 13.
I don't care. I
So
don't
be it.
care. I
That's
don't
how
care
it's supposed
because
to be. I'm
at the
curious
end of the
yeah.
day, I can handle in some regard losing the Tampa Bay Bucks. I can handle that. I can't handle losing to Mark Holmes and the Dallas Cowboys. I just can't do it. It hurts my
Can
heart.
I say
You understand?
Yeah,
that
Mark, I want your
I just
opinion on
earned
that.
some respect for Cop Pizzle right there because see,
Wow,
I got
this
more
is-
shit.
hold
No,
up, I
I'm
need
gonna be
to
honest
record
with you
this
because
shit.
see, he's a real one right now. Because I got
love
all these
Pizzle.
people that came to me, Cowboys are so
Get my
stupid. They're
whistle out.
supposed to be tanking. They're supposed to be losing. It's like, no, you don't understand because I have been a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan growing up in, you know, Washington territory my whole life. I got my dad, who's a Dallas Cowboy fan, you know, who's forever been going against Washington fans. And it did my soul good to know that as bad as this shitty season has been, that I got a little bit of respect because we beat those Commanders, and I can understand exactly what Cop is. I said, I don't give a damn about a draft pick next
All
year.
right, good.
I might
I'm
be
glad you said
dead.
that, Mark, because I didn't see
might
your
be
stream.
dead,
Yeah, good.
okay? So I'm going to make sure that at least I enjoyed this right now, and it shut up all of these Commander fans. Because, see, I got family members that have been riding me all season about how bad the Cowboys were, and I can say, kiss my ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cops
Shout out to you,
hatred.
Pizzle.
Cops hatred for the cat. That's the way I feel about Philadelphia. I
Yeah.
can't stand the Eagles, man. I can't stand the Eagles. And I'll tell you, we played them the last game of the season, and for whatever reason, I came down to like the #1 seed, and we could beat their ass and make sure they don't get the #1 seed. I'm rooting for us to beat the freaking Eagles. I don't give a shit. I hate that team
LB's,
so
man,
much.
he's
I
laughing right
cannot
now.
We all agree on
stand it
something.
because, I mean, I haven't been on YouTube for 18 years, but I've been here the last 10, and I was here from 2007 to 2009. So I remember Cobb when he was in college. I remember Cobb when he was a young man. And YouTube was nothing like this in 2007. Nothing like this in 2007 at all. It was way different. Cobb will tell you it was way different back then. And I'll tell you, man, Cobb can speak to this. There were no Eagle fans on this platform. Very few, a handful until 2017. And as soon as that happened, they're all over the place. Cowboy fans always been here. They've always been here. But that Eagle fan base grew like you wouldn't believe. It's almost like the cockroaches came out. You know, they turned the light off. They all came. Oh, what a Super Bowl! Now we can come out and show our face. It's amazing how that happened. So it really. I mean, I've always hated
Cowboy fans have always, as long as I've ever seen YouTube, I've been on YouTube, and YouTube goes back to like 2006. That's when it's the beginning. It's all Cowboy fans have always represented on YouTube. Matter of fact, there was a time that there were more Redskin fans on here than Eagle fans. That's the truth. So I definitely, I'm in agreement with that on battle. But look, the reality is that somebody who is a big time Cowboys fan or a big time Giant fan, we know that we're not promised tomorrow. We know we're not promised next year. Somebody's going to watch, I hate to say this, but somebody's going to watch their last Giants and Cowboys game in their lifetime on Thursday. And if you're a Giants fan and you're a Cowboys fan, you hope that you're going to go out a winner. I'm sorry, in the rivalry. So that's, the next year is a long ways away. It really is.
Well,
and
it's
so,
funny as you say that because, I live in South Jersey, which is like half hour from Philly, half hour from Atlantic City, 2 hours from where Mark is, maybe 2.5.
South Jersey's Philly country, right?
Yeah, it is. It's all Philly country. And actually where I live is where Philly 500 grew up. So, just a little something. But I feel like the same way, Pizzle, like the Eagles, I was happy because I have a lot of extended family. My sister's, her family, they're all Eagle fans. I was happy. I didn't root for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody I did. But after they got their Super Bowl win, I felt a sense of like happiness for them, relief, because there was literally people that passed away being happy because they saw their team win a Super Bowl.
I felt a sense of nausea.
Yeah, I know, but we are disdain. Like Pizzle said, you guys won 2, right? And like, the most recently, Eli was I think Eli should be in the Hall of Fame. That's just me personally. He's just a winner. He had the weird face and it was ugly towards the end of his career. But, I was happy after it was over that they won because I knew people, like personally, that it made them happy. Now, I think we would all agree now it's gotten carried away. I don't want to see any of them happy. I hate seeing them happy. It's now it's gotten carried away, right?
I hate seeing them get happy.
Now it's Saquon came home. He came home to Philly where he always belongs. Now it's Michael Parsons, come home because you're a Philly guy. No, he's not. He's not a Philly guy. He doesn't want to play for the Eagles. And then they get butthurt and say, oh, well, Michael Parsons stinks. But anyway, I'm going to put a button on this Giant talk. We will move over to the Cowboy talk. But Mark, yes, I want you to finish it off. Yes.
Because going back to the whole thing about tomorrow isn't promised. When the Cowboys have been so bad, me and Mike have had a conversation about how bad we are. Here. We may not win another game. And we literally were like, the Giants winning would be good because we hope that Rashid is looking down on us, because the last game that I watched with Rashid he was sitting over there watching the Cowboys Giants game last year. And it was Thanksgiving last year, the day after that he passed. And so that's where I was kind of like, I could be okay if the Giants win this one for Rashid.
Yeah, well, and we were kind of like, almost rooting for it. We had Stuart Morrison. We went to Texas. I guess it's been 3 years now, or I don't know. Time flies.
Yeah, it was right up. 22.
And we were kind of thinking, we had Stuart on our side. I'm sure. I saw Pizzle's video. He had somebody that he knew. Yeah, just people. Listen, it's very frustrating. My young son. He's 20. He's never seen He's my only son who really is into sports. He loves the Cowboys, but he's never seen them win. People want to say front runner. That kid's not a front runner. I'm not a front runner. It's been 29 years. We've won what, 4 playoff games in that period. It's been tough. Now, Mark, you start off. We're getting a little bit about 20 minutes. Mark, you start off about the Cowboys, the state of the franchise, and then I want to hear 2 Giant fans from the outside looking in what they think. Mark, go ahead, man. I mean, look, what the hell's going on with the Cowboys, man? Because
here's the thing with the Cowboys at this point. I
did drop a dime about John Lynch being at the Star here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you sure did.
I was there, and I saw him get out of the elevator. Is Jerry stepping down? Anyway, go ahead.
So
you don't think so? You know what? Die on the job.
Here's the problem with the Cowboys is we've got the Giants, the Carolina Panthers, we've got the Bengals. The Eagles may have the division locked up with 2 weeks to go, and then we have the Commanders in the end. The Cowboys could win 3 or 4 games going down the stretch, and all of a sudden Jerry and Stephen Jones will say, well, it was just the injuries that were the problem for us this year. We had a good team out there, so let's stay the course, which is the problem because we have been literally chasing Jerry Jones's ego since he fired Jimmy Johnson, where he's trying to prove that he knows everything. And unfortunately, they get close. They get you to buy into the hype. And it's just that they don't get that last little bit. Last year, if we had gotten a linebacker, because literally we had safeties playing linebacker last year.
Marquise Bell,
another weapon.
In a playoff game, he was a 205
He was a liability.
Yep,
yeah,
playing linebacker.
And a legitimate defensive tackle, you could look and say, well, yeah, the Cowboys would have been a really good team. But they won't do those things. And as long as we continue to draft to replace starters that we keep letting go, we just aren't going to be able to get there. So Jerry Jones is the problem. You can point at Dak, you can point at Mike McCarthy, but you have to look at it and say, Jerry cuts the nuts off of the coach, and you don't support the guys that are out there. You got Micah Parsons, who could be incredible. That's when you say, let me get some defensive linemen so Micah Parsons can be the best player he can be out there because he's not the only person you have to stop. You can look and say, I paid Dak $60 million. Let me get some weapons so that way we don't kill CeeDee Lamb trying to get him 15 touches a game, and we can spread the ball around. And until you start doing some of those things, it's just going to be the same shit we have. A decent year where we make the playoffs and don't do anything. A year where we're going to be bad and get some good draft picks. It's a rinse, repeat cycle with the Cowboys.
You still making videos trying to compare Micah Parsons to Lawrence Taylor? Did you knock that off?
You know what? I tell you what. Here's an interesting stat for you, though.
There is no stat. He's not Lawrence Taylor. Let's just leave it at that.
Hold on. Micah Parsons has missed 5 games this year, and he has more pressures than TJ Watt, who they say is the defensive MVP.
Yeah, I don't care about that. He ain't Lawrence Taylor.
Okay. All right. Well, he will end up the season with double-digit stats again.
He ain't Lawrence Taylor. All right.
4 years in a row.
I just want to make sure.
Bad dog. Before you kill me on that, I said starting their season, starting their careers, he was doing things that were similar to Lawrence Taylor. I never
like
said
what?
He is, well, as far as
he could cover receivers. He could chase running backs down from across the field. You had to totally change the way you did an offensive scheme to stop number 11. No. Left tackle's old. Left tackle's old Lawrence Taylor. Left tackle's old. They get all that money because of Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
I changed
we can agree to disagree on that one.
We're not going to disagree on it. I'm right. You're not.
All right, bad dog. Okay, I hear you. I hear
that's
you.
a tough stretch,
Nobody's
right?
Lawrence Taylor. Nobody will ever be Lawrence Taylor.
I would say nowadays you couldn't because you probably have to pass a drug test. But yeah, no. All that.
Lawrence Taylor got in trouble for that.
All kidding aside, yeah, I think Lawrence Taylor is one of one. Pizzle, start with you. You're, be honest, which you always are. What's our future, man? What's Cowboys, near future? How's it looking? Is it bleak or what?
I think the Cowboys' future is just it's no better than the Giants.
Yeah.
Honestly, you guys have. It's so funny because there's some similarities to the Giants and Cowboys when you think about it. You guys got a great receiver, CeeDee Lamb. We got a great one in Malik Neighbors, right? You guys obviously CeeDee Lamb's have more proven because he's been in the league longer, but I think Malik can play at his level. You guys have got a great defensive player. He's not Lawrence Taylor, but he's a great defensive player. We got a great defensive player in Dexter Lawrence. So
yeah, he's probably the best interior lineman in the league.
Yeah, and the same frustration, that Mark has about Michael Parsons getting, it's like I want that for Dexter Lawrence. And Kayvon Thibodeau, he got hurt, so he's been out, for the last month or month and a half or so. Brian Burns just came over and he had a little bit of success to start the year, but like we're very top heavy, but the rest of the team just doesn't produce. And I feel like the same way with the Cowboys is you guys have these top heavy players in, like, for example, I like CD, I like Ferguson, I like the tight end you guys got. I don't really like y'all's running game. I don't think y'all have a running game at all. I personally don't hate Dak's game. I don't look at Dak as like this sorry quarterback. I truly don't. I think he can be talented. And like I said, I think you guys have got a couple guys on the defense that's pretty good. But in the end, like, I think you guys are kind of a little bit in future money wise, you guys are a little bit strapped. Am I wrong or right?
They were strapped this offseason, which is why they didn't sign any free agents.
Strapped. Well, go ahead, Mark. He's the cap guru. Go ahead.
This is actually the first season that the Cowboys will go into the offseason not having to make a move just to get under the cap. They currently have $21 million that's going to roll over. They have $20 million, even with Dak and CD's contract already on the books, and they have triggers in both of those contracts that they could get about $45 million on top.
What are you going to do with Micah Parsons?
Well, they'll resign. But I think actually,
there goes your cap space.
No, but you got about $100 million. Like, we're going to have around $100 million. I think what they're going to do is they're going to probably have him pissed off and go ahead and keep him on the 5th-year option. Because when I say that the Cowboys,
I thought
right now his money is already on the cap. He's
got 2 years.
When I say we got $41 million, that's with him counting at $17 million.
Do you think he would hold out?
I don't know. That's the big question here, because we got Cowboy fans that are like, screw him, trade him, get rid of him and stuff. But you saw his worth yesterday. Yesterday he had 4 solo tackles, 4 assists, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. He was literally a one-man wrecking ball. And you can't say, well, we'll just trade him. And knowing how the Cowboys trade people, knowing them, they trade him for a freaking 2nd-round pick and fuck it up.
We'll take him.
Seriously, you traded Amari Cooper for a 5th-round pick, and you ended up getting Mingo for a 4th. How the fuck does that work?
Yeah, you guys also traded a 1st to get Cooper, so that was
right, exactly. So people say, well, just trade this one. It's like, I don't have confidence in the Cowboys to make decent trades. But no, they'll sign Micah, and you guys have plenty of money on there for him. But he's not the whole worry. You got like Tyler Smith. That's also
Jake Ferguson, Tyler Smith.
Yeah. So you guys think that guys in there?
Do y'all think y'all will draft a running back in the 1st round?
I don't know if it'll be first, but
about that kid from Boise State.
I like him. I do, but
he wants to be a Cowboy.
They all want to be. That's all BS. I like Abdul Carter out of Penn State. I like the kid out of Penn State. Out of Boise, but there's a lot of running backs. The guy in Ohio State's good. I'm a little leery on going running back, but you see what Saquon's doing in Philly. Dallas's offensive line is not what it was. But I don't know, man. It'll be interesting. But go ahead, Bad Dog. Just give me your just quick look. What's your opinion
Cowboy? Like, I'm wondering if signing Dak was a mistake. Again, I like Cobb said, I don't think Dak's a bad quarterback at all. I think Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. I don't know if he's great. I don't know if he's an elite quarterback, but I think he's top 3rd in the league when he's healthy. I think Dak has always been pretty good, especially for a 4th-round pick. I mean, it's great value that you got with Dak Prescott. But again, the Cowboys are very much like the Yankees. They really are. They're very similar. And a lot of Cowboys fans are Yankee fans, so you figure that out. But when you're the Cowboys, you're expected to win Super Bowls. You're expected to produce in the postseason. fair or not fair, that's the way it is in Dallas. You are America's team for a reason. There's higher expectations for Dallas. And Dak Prescott has fallen short. I mean, you got to be honest, whether you're running the ball or not, Dak Prescott does not elevate. He turns the ball over a lot. He plays less in the postseason than he does in the regular season, much like Aaron Judge does. So people can say Aaron Judge is a great player, but what the hell does he do in October? And that's what people say about Dak Prescott. Well, yeah, he's a really good quarterback, but what the hell does he do in January?
You know what? I would agree with you if the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls and doing great things and stuff before Dak. But I have to look at this and say
they did the same thing.
Hold on, bad dog. I you to trash my people and all that. You look at the stretches of the Cowboys. The Cowboys over the last 30 years didn't have back-to-back playoff seasons going into this. It's not just Dak Prescott. The fact that we had 3 years of 12 wins in a row is that's the best stretch we've had over the course of the last 30 years. And we've seen times when Dak Prescott goes down, that team literally just drops off the cliff.
Not with anybody loses their starting quarterback.
Okay, well,
it was a big drop.
I would like to see. Here's what I would like to see as you go through and trash my guy, and as you admitted,
I'm not trashing him. I'm just
as you admitted, having players matter. I'd like to see Dak Prescott in a situation like Jalen Hurts or Brock Purdy. Let me see him with not just one weapon, multiple weapons, a great running game and things. We haven't seen that stuff with my quarterback. We have not had Zeke Elliott has literally in 9 years, every single season gotten less yards per game every year. When you trot out the worst running game in football and you got one freaking receiver, you got 2 offensive linemen that are rookies that are playing a different position than they played in college, it's the recipe for disaster.
You're going to tell us? We know.
You know. But let me see him with 2 great receivers. The guys we have out there right now with CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, he's
I would say it's comparable to what the Giants have.
Yeah, exactly. And look what Dak was doing versus what the Giants were doing.
But I'm just saying, like they got Malik Neighbors and then who? They don't really have much of anything.
Let me say
this,
Brian.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me say this, Brian. There are 2 teams in our division that are currently having success, and the Commanders.
Not yesterday.
I understand, Mark. I got it, but the totality of the season, and I do think the Commanders are starting to fade. Mm-hmm. But you have the Commanders and the Eagles. The Commanders, a lot of people think, well, they got good because they got Jaden Daniels. Well, that is part of it, but also out of all the teams in the NFL, they had the most roster turnover in the offseason of any other team. Dan Quinn is a good coach. I think you guys know that. I think you guys experienced that. Dan Quinn is whether you want to say it or not, he's a Super Bowl caliber coach because he's taken a team to the Super Bowl before. Granted, It didn't go well for him, but he did. They got a good coach.
It went well for like 3.5 quarters.
It did. They did a monster roster turnover in the offseason. And they're going to have another offseason to, again, adjust on that and maybe make it better.
They got a lot of cap space. Washington's got a lot of cap space.
Well, that to me, both of our teams need to do what they did. They need to change who the leader of the coach is. They need to have monster roster changeovers if they can. And look, the team that's probably the best in our division, the Eagles right now, the reality is 2 of their best players came from teams who had issues with their player in A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley, and the Eagles have benefited from that trash. A.J. Brown was a good receiver for the Titans. They had a little blow up, and he ends up on the Eagles. The Giants and Barkley couldn't come to terms. He somehow ends up on the Eagles, and now both those players are making our lives hell right now, being on the Eagles. And so, I don't think the Commanders are Super Bowl contenders. The Eagles definitely scare me because I don't want to see them get it again. But the reality is both of those teams, that's how they both have had success recently. And look, you look at the Commanders model, I hate to say it, but that's what our 2 teams probably need to do in the offseason is have a monster roster changeover and bring in new coaching.
So you're on board with Dable's done. You think Dable's
his
done?
his ass should have been out of here this morning.
Even though the GM said that
was so what about Joe Shane? You think that
his ass should have been out of here this morning?
So you're on board with that.
They both.
I was with them staying until that game against Tampa.
I said
because
the same thing. about
that was kind of like he lost to me at that point. It's looked like he lost a lot.
Yeah, I
Dog, I don't want a
McCarthy
lot of turnover,
after
dog.
last
Dog,
year.
I'm with you. I am conservative in mind. I don't want a lot of turnover and a lot of change, but they've lost the locker room. They're starting to lose the fan base, and change needs to be made. I hate to say it. It just is. I mean, again, look at what Washington has been the biggest dumpster fire in this division for the longest time. Okay. I mean, that's just reality. Now they get new ownership, they get new coaching, and all of a sudden they've shown signs of life this year. Right. And so that's, I hate to look at Washington and say that's an example, but that's an example.
That's the model. Oh shit. There we go.
I mean, I hate to say it, but look, the Giants aren't going to get a new owner. The Cowboys aren't going to get a new owner. But the one thing you can do is completely remodel the place. Don't just put a fresh coat of paint, tear some stuff down and start reframing. Right, Mark?
Well, I would think this. I would think this, Pizzle. We are already on that road. We have more players on 1-year deals. We have re-signed our really good players like Dak, CD. We have some like Trayvon Diggs. I mean, we have a lot of our.
We do have some
high-end talent that's locked up for at least for a couple of years, but. We've been hearing this soft rebuild. The idea was to always flip pretty much everybody that that's not still on a rookie deal. That's like a Tyler Smith, obviously a Cooper Beebe, a Hunter Lepke. I mean, it goes on. Jake Ferguson. I mean, we have pieces, people. We have a lot of pieces, but they're gonna flip probably what, Mark? 30 bodies. It's going to be different.
We got 27 free, but that's every and that's part of the problem.
That's a lot, though. That's more than
we had 27 last year. And see, here's the thing: we let go 9 starters last year, 9 starters, and the Cowboys didn't sign any free agents other than Eric Kendricks and Zeke.
Well, because they saw what was coming ahead. Now, we only have a couple minutes left. I want to get everybody's thought on a Thanksgiving game, but first. The Eagles are running the division, but I just wanted to let all my Eagle fans know, and I believe, the Jalen Hurts contract.
Fuck Philly? Did you want to let them know that?
Yeah, well, that's good. You said that. The Jalen Hurts contract hasn't really hit them yet. That's why they weren't big players in the trade deadline, because they really can't afford to do it now. And I said this yesterday. Don't wait till next year and act like you're going to be that much better. You're good now. Go win it. I'm sorry. This is 2 storied franchises that you're watching right now talk about the shit show that is their teams, meaning the Giants and the Cowboys. Real quick, if the Giants get to a Super Bowl and lose, boys, are you happy?
No. I want to win. I don't go there to lose.
Okay. Mark, are you happy now, I don't know. I know we've talked about this before. I said absolutely. I would be absolutely pissed off if Dallas finally gets to a Super Bowl and lose, because we know it's been
hard to get there.
It's hard to get there.
So what would you like? Would you be happy, or would you be? I would not be.
I wouldn't be happy that we lost, but I'd be happy that we could at least.
You just want to fend off the dogs. I could give a shit about the dogs. I want another.
I want to win.
I
ain't going. Second place ain't a win. It's a loser.
Yeah. Okay. So
at least we could get rid of the.
Because I hear a lot about
get past the NFC.
Like Hamid's in the chat. I mean, he loves the fact that they got to Super Bowls. Okay, great. But if you don't win it, nobody remembers you, bro. Nobody cares.
It was 15 years since my Yankees been in a World Series. I was pissed that they lost to the Dodgers.
Exactly. Pissed. But all right, let's get to the Thanksgiving Day game. We got a couple minutes. What are your thoughts? We'll start with Pizzle, go to Bad Dog, Mark, and then we'll get out of here. Pizzle, what do you think is going to happen? And, just leave it at that. What do you think is going to happen, bro? There's 2 bad teams right now.
I don't even know.
We haven't won a game at home. Just keep that in mind.
Well, we haven't won a game at home, so something's
got to give. Wouldn't that be
to me, the Giants should look at this as if this is their Super Bowl. Like, this should be it. This should be the biggest game of the year because, it's your rival. It's Thanksgiving Day. It's on national television. It's going to be the only game playing, at that time. So to me, it should be a big game. I don't know how a day removed from what happened yesterday. I don't know what kind of effort the Giants are going to give. I really don't. I do like the fact that we're going on the road because it seems like we need to get the hell away from Jersey. But I mean, it's you guys are coming off a really nice win. We're coming off getting blown out. All I can hope is the Giants somehow go in there and make it competitive and find a way to win. That game earlier in the year, was a tight game. It was I thought that Thursday night game that the Giants and Cowboys played, I thought was a really good game. CD like I said, he had a really good game. That was a fun contest. I thought it kind of was a show that maybe the Giants could, compete with the rest of the year. But ever since that loss, I mean, we've just been such, downhill. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best and expecting the worst, I guess.
I hear you, bro.
For me, I think Dallas defensively is going to have a field day. I don't know if Illuminor is healthy. He got hurt last game. I haven't seen his update. If we're going in there with a Zudu and I forgot the damn left tackle's name, man. If those are our tackles, Tommy DeVito holds on to the ball way too long. I mean, he's been sacked almost 20%. I mean, almost sacked 20% of the time he drops back. He don't get rid of the ball quick enough. At Dallas, you don't even disguise a blitz with Tommy. You just go after him. He's going down. And it was obvious against Tampa. I mean, we couldn't move the ball. I mean, we had 46 yards in the first half against one of the worst passing defenses in football. The Giants they're just in such disarray. It's hard to think of how they could win the game because even when we were healthy, we only put up 5 field goals against you guys and we ran the ball for 26 yards. You guys it's Thanksgiving. You guys could win, and you'd be what? You'd be 5-6. I mean, you're not
5-7.
5-7. Sorry, you haven't had your bye yet. Oh no, you'd be 5-7. That's right. You have had your bye. So still, you have an outside shot at it. You haven't won a game all year. It like constant. It's Thanksgiving, so not only are all eyes on the Giants, are all on the Cowboys, and even though both of these teams are like they're in a pile of shit right now. I mean, both of these teams are kind of a mess. I still think Dallas is more talented than we are, especially with our offensive line being beat up and no Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas was there in the first game. I just worry about Tommy DeVito. I mean, he took some shots in that game against Tampa, got knocked out of the game for a play. So I just don't see how. I think our defense will do okay against you guys. I think we could get to Cooper Rush. I think we can get some sacks if we can get you.
Why start the other quarterback that they got? That's what I was curious.
They started DeVito just to see if he could be a backup. That's really what it is. Drew Lock's going next year.
Yeah,
he's on a 1-year deal. He's not the future. They want to see if they don't have to pay a backup $5 to $7 million. They're going to have to because DeVito's. I love Tommy. I'm an Italian guy. Of course, I love Tommy, but he's not the answer. He's not an NFL quarterback. So I can see an ugly. I can see being close for a half, like a ugly game, 10-6, one way or the other. But yeah. I think at the end, I just don't think our offense has enough to beat you guys. I just don't. I don't. Our offense is really bad. It's just bad.
Let me say real fast too. If y'all blow us out, I don't think Brian Dable makes it. I think he gets canned after that game.
Yeah, because you got some extra time, right?
So, I mean, if Cowboys absolutely murder the Giants on national television,
I don't know that Cooper Rush can murder anybody.
Well, I'm just saying. I don't expect it. I'm just saying if it happens,
it's gonna be a close.
Brian Dable is getting canned on Friday. It's on Black Friday.
Mark, your thoughts as we wrap up, so we can go do our streams.
We are 4-2 on the road and 0-5 at home. We have been abysmal. I don't know why. I hope that changes against the Giants. The way the defense is playing right now and getting healthier and getting more pieces back, I don't see the Giants being able to score. That's not to say that we are a good team. We are not. We are far from it. But I think the Cowboys just have more talent right now than the Eagles do. And the performance I saw against them, against Tampa Bay, it's just bad. It's just bad for Tampa Bay. I think at the moment we're two teams that might be headed in two different directions. We'll get,
I don't know,
maybe close to average, No,
I don't
you
know
got
what
to
direction we're
right
going.
now.
We're going.
We'll see.
sideways
We'll see
right
if the
now.
Cowboys capitalize on it. I think Micah Parsons is on a mission to prove that he deserves to get that contract right now. And so I see him saying, Tommy DeVito is an opportunity for me to make a couple extra more million, and look for him to get a couple of sacks and a few more quarterback hits this weekend. And maybe look Lauren Taylor-esque.
Yeah, I don't mind the esque part, but I'm a little annoyed at Micah just because of the whole he wants to be highest paid non-quarterback, and it's just very hard because it's just tough for me to see that, bro. Just really concentrate on staying disciplined and maybe stopping the run every now and again. I know that's not what he's there for, but if you're going to be highest paid, you got to do it all. But I love Micah. But anyway, we could go on for a long time. I really appreciate Pizzle, Bad Dog Sports, and obviously Mark Holmes. We don't do as much as we should, Mark. But Pizzle, last words before we get out of here. And
Pizzle, you and I don't do as much as we should either.
Well, we used to stream a lot.
Let me. Yeah, I'd love to stream with all you guys. Let me just say this. Thank you for having me on, Brian. I appreciate.
I always appreciate you.
And make no mistake about it, Mark. It's Cowboys and Giants hate week, and I'm not going to let you off the hook this week. Okay, so you will be hearing from me. You will be hearing from me. I know you got all your. I know you're too busy. Sniffing Philly 500s, but I got something for you. I got something for you for Thursday. Don't you worry about it. You know what?
I was about to bury the hatchet, but see,
we ain't buried no hatchet.
I the knee for you, Mother Humper, this season when you guys are playing the Eagles, and I was butthurt because I didn't even get a response after all these freaking years. I was like, okay, I'm gonna bend the damn knee, and you didn't even respond. So
I did what you did to me, Mark.
Oh,
thanks, Leo.
Damn, he cut me off at the nuts, man, motherfucker. It's all good, man. I'm gonna bury the hatchet, man. Let's let bygones be bygones.
I got something for you this week. Don't you worry. I got something for you, buddy.
Okay.
There you go. All right.
Tell Baby Doll I said hello.
Brian, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Pizzle, you
love fest here in the basement.
Pizzle, you and I definitely got to do more stuff together.
Let's do it, dog. Let's do
it. Like I said, I had a break in between. I missed, I was off of YouTube for a few years, but I've been around a long time, and I was around when Pizzle started. Like I said, I remember when Pizzle was a college kid. I say it all the time. He had the earpiece.
See, Mark, this is our crowd, like older guys.
I remember those days, but. Well, I've known Mark a long time, and I give Mark a hard time, but Mark, you're good people. You really are, man. I love Mark. Mark's good people. And Brian, you're one of the realest Cowboy fans I came across. So when we did that Super Friends stream, I was like, I like this guy because you call it the way it is. So it's refreshing.
Man. I appreciate that. I've only been into Mark, a little less than 2 years. We're closing in on 50K. So I'm putting a lot of work in, but it wouldn't be without the guy up in the upper left-hand corner. Without Mark Holmes, I would not be here. He pushed me. Sometimes we were just in Dallas, right, Mark? We were at each other's throats. Wade was going to pull over, and I don't know that you could have caught me, but if you would have caught me, I would have been in trouble. But, that's how brothers do it. Mark, final words. I do have everybody's channel pinned up at the top. If you don't know who these men are or not subscribed, please do it now, please. Mark, finish this out. Take us out, baby.
We can actually agree as Cowboys and Giant fans. We can come together and all say we hate the freaking Eagles and that they okay, so we're going to end it like that. It's going to be Thanksgiving. It's time to be with your family and everything else. And, of course, time to hate the Giants.
Very well said. I'm sorry about the internet, people. I got the best possible internet, and it still sucks. So I apologize for the buffering. Everybody, I appreciate it. I am out of here. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll talk to you later. Peace out, everybody.
Hey, man. What?
All righty.
Cool. This is me. We're going to jump on that spaceship and get out of here. Let's go.
No judgment. Shoot.
Get to smash that subscribe button. You know what? I'm going to give it, I'll give it 4 out of 5 avocados. Korg?
I was raised by avocados.
Oh my God, just kill me now.
Ho, ho, ho.
Green Giant.
Hey! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
I think it's going really well. I know. This is literally the first time I took my gun out of the holster. Right?
And that is why we need a triumphant video.
You guys led us to this. Thank you.